end zone. Crabtree broken up, picked off. This game is over. Knocked in the air, intercepted by Smith.
Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you.
$3 on lot A.
$4.
$5.
Searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary respected. 30, James, 30 to you. 100. So, next one coming up.
$5 going once, twice, 3 times sold.
Look at this here. Come on, who wants this?
$2 on lot A.
$2 going once, twice, 3 times sold.
See, now that surprises me.
That is interesting to say the least.
At some point, I want to be on lot
Yeah,
A.
can a brother get on lot A?
Best one we got. 500, 600.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Been a pleasure.
Give him hell.
$8 on lot A. Going once, twice, 3 times sold.
Okay, that can't be true, because what could
Look
this
at
dude do? Look at him. What could he pick? A cotton plant is like this tall.
This auction's over.
Auction's over.
Whoa. No, it ain't over. It's not over. I'm strong, y'all.
I'm fast, I got
I
stamina,
know I don't look it, but
and I know magic.
Colin Kaepernick, old Colin Kaepernick, one of the most hilarious stories that just literally won't go away. Every single time there's an opening in the NFL for the quarterback position, Twitter loses its mind talking about how Colin Kaepernick is supposed to have gotten that position. Why? 'Cause reasons? It's like most people on Twitter clearly don't watch NFL football. They still think there are no black quarterbacks in the NFL, and they think that somehow Colin Kaepernick is being excluded for his blackness or his lame slacktivism, taking a knee during the game. And quite frankly, it's not that at all. It's the fact that Colin Kaepernick sucks at the quarterback position and lost his starting role to a third-string quarterback in 2016, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, this guy lost his position as a starting quarterback to Blaine Gabbert, a third stringer. And now he's desperately begging to get back into the NFL. You know, the NFL that he called slavery? I don't know how many slaves would have begged to go back to being a slave, but Colin Kaepernick does. Colin Kaepernick wants to go back and be a slave again. Just to remind everybody, if we go back, it's like nobody can search the internet. Let's go back to 2016. Colin Kaepernick benched by 49ers after dismal 3 quarters against the Bears. At the time, the Niners had pulled him for Blaine Gabbert. Kaepernick was 1 of 5 passing for 4 yards with no touchdowns, a passer rating of 39.6. He also took 5 sacks, and he was the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for fewer than 5 yards in a game. 5 yards, not 500 yards, which seems to happen all the time, or darn near close to happening in this modern day NFL where you can't cover receivers anymore. 5. On the third stringer's first attempt, he completed an 18-yard pass to wide receiver Jeremy Curley, and he finished 4 for 10 for a whopping 35 yards. Not exactly amazing, but nonetheless, this is a guy that played his way out of a job. Yet, Friday, he's begging for his job back. Colin Kaepernick mocked for begging NFL to play after comparing league's draft combine to slavery. Former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick took some heat on Twitter for practically begging the NFL league for a job after comparing teams and coaches to slave traders in an NFL special. Look, do I think Colin Kaepernick could be a serviceable backup on an NFL team? Yeah, 3 years ago. The guy's been out of the league for 6 years. He hasn't competed in the NFL in 6 years. there's 0% chance he could step in now and even be an effective backup. I just don't buy it. I won't say zero. Very low. Could he fill a roster spot and be a number 2 guy or number 3 guy? Yeah, I think so. The real reason he's not is like the same reason that so many teams didn't want Tim Tebow and the Tim Tebow circus that followed him. His output did not outweigh the media circus. You bring in Colin Kaepernick on a team as a backup, which is where his skill set would at best place him in modern day football. He would then suddenly would be like, well, why isn't Colin Kaepernick starting? Are you racist? Even though the NFL is like probably 85% black. There's what, 10 black quarterbacks starting, maybe more. Some of the best statistical quarterbacks in the NFL are black. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, even Deshaun Watson, who was just cleared of some stuff. The idea of like the era of like Warren Moon being that one black quarterback that everyone knew, or Dante Culpepper, those days are gone. You know, and he writes, for the past 5 years, I've been working out and staying ready just in case an opportunity to play presented itself. I'm really grateful to my trainer, who I've been throwing to all this time. But man, I do miss throwing to some professional route runners. Who's working? I'll pull up. This is just, he doesn't actually want to play in the NFL. Let me be very clear. He doesn't. Because remember when he had his chance to do a workout and, you know, there were some weird rules that the NFL were placing on his workout, I'll admit. But he also then moved the workout and then like didn't actually even work out for anybody. Instead, he just wore a weird Che Guevara t-shirt with socks that called Cops Pigs or something like that. I might be mixing up dates, but these are things that this clown did. And make no mistake about it, Colin Kaepernick grew up in a wealthy, suburban, white family in Wisconsin. Okay? He was adopted into a white family. He is the living, walking example of what amazing privilege, or I'm sorry, not privilege, but like an amazing comeback story, so to speak. You know, his family couldn't have him or didn't want him. And, you know, a white family in Wisconsin raised him up and gave him the opportunity to become a multimillionaire, an opportunity he seized, and he earned every bit of it. That isn't to say that Colin didn't earn anything. And that isn't to say that Colin can't have gripes with police or whatever the case may be. But for a guy who is a literal rags to riches story, you'd think that he might have some more self-awareness. I don't know anybody who would be reluctant to hire you after you did a Netflix show. Oh, and then the backlash came after that. So he tweets out saying, please, I want to throw to some NFL receivers. So here's some of the replies. I don't know why anybody would be reluctant to hire you after you did a Netflix show accusing them of slavery, Jim Treacher tweeted in response. Delano Squires added, why would you be fighting so hard to get back into the league you claim is run like a plantation? Do you really prefer the NFL's oppression to the freedom you have to promote prison abolition as an activist? Another reply, the irony of wanting to go back to the plantation is crazy, Barrington Martin wrote. The free market decides whether or not he'll play in the NFL again. If he's good enough, a team will sign him. It's that simple, Beverly Hallberg argued. It's actually not that simple. There's more to it. I'm not going to pretend like he's just an absolute scrub and couldn't be a backup anywhere. I think he could have been a backup back in 2016, 2017, 2018. He could still be a viable backup right now. I'd have to see something. It's like people forgot those last 2 years when he was a quarterback for the Niners and he was absolute garbage. And none of that had to do with his slacktivism. Kaepernick became a household name when he sat out for the national anthem, later choosing to kneel while it was playing before games. He argued that he was not protesting the anthem specifically or the United States military. I am not going to stand up and show pride for a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street, and people are getting paid to leave and getting paid leave and getting away with it, Kaepernick said back in 2016. Several days later, He added that, bad behavior by police, people of color have been targeted by police. That's a large part of it. Look, I'm not going to pretend that there isn't bad cops out there. There are. I would question this victim mentality, especially by a guy who's worth $150 million. But anyway, the quarterback was benched, and while the league attributed that to his lackluster performance on the field, Kaepernick and many others who claimed it was punitive action for his antics on the sidelines, but it wasn't. Still, Kaepernick managed to land a Netflix deal, and in Colin Black and White, he compared the NFL Combine to the slave market and the coaches to slave traders. But let me tell you what they didn't want you to understand. It's the established power dynamic, Kaepernick claimed. Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundaries respected, no dignity left intact. Well, also understand that this is something that you volunteer for and you aren't required to do so. It's also something that every single person who wants to go into the NFL, black, white, or purple, has to go through. It has nothing to do with being black. And this is what I'm talking about, Kaepernick's slacktivism. I mean, he even got bodied. If you look up the Jaleel White interview, the actor that played Urkel, like Urkel bodied him on the Steve-O podcast. Like, I'm not exactly sure a ton of black folks take him seriously because he doesn't even really understand a lot of the stuff he's talking about, I don't think. I think he just gets talking points. I mean, this is, I'm sure it has nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick's acquisition company losing lucrative deals, and it raised his doubt of the ex-athlete's halo power. This happened back in December, realizing that nobody really cared about Colin Kaepernick anymore. Joe Rogan ripping Colin Kaepernick for comparing the NFL to slavery. What the F are you talking about? Rogan asked Theo Von, did you see the Netflix special where Colin is comparing the NFL to slavery? Von comparing Kaepernick's activism to the civil rights activist Rosa Parks quipped, Throza Parks, that's what I call that dude. Throza Parks, Rogan laughed uproariously. Von continued, that is the lamest. I did try to watch it. It makes me sad. It makes me sad, and it feels like the lowest. It's the lowest pandering for racism that you could create. It's almost infantile, the pandering of it. And I think it takes away from real racist stuff. It's just like Rogan interjected. Imagine comparing the ability to do it or not do it. You sign up for it. Everybody. Like so many people who play football want to be in the NFL. It's a goal. It's a dream. You can make millions of dollars. And imagine comparing that to slavery simply because they measure people's physical performance. That's what he's doing. He was measuring like wingspans at the combine, scores for weightlifting and speed, he noted. That's to see how physically adept you are, how good you're going to be at football. They'll give you tons of money. The idea that this is comparable to slavery, whoever effing wrote that down and that he said it, the fact that he read it and said it. And they had this video where they're comparing NFL owners to slave masters and they're shaking hands with each other. What the F are you talking about it? It's such a racist thing towards white people. It's like, because all the owners, they're white. It's just blatantly white. It's insulting the players too. Rogan wrote, and like, yeah, it's hilarious to me that this clown is taken seriously. I mean, him and Bubba Wallace, mediocre athletes that weren't very good that suddenly figured out they could make more money on the race grift. I'm glad to see that people are kind of waking up to that and giving him the roasting he deserves. Go back and look up some of his his highlights, from the 2015 or even 2016 season. And you tell me that guy could start in the NFL today. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.